Welcome to this AlphaCam Express Startup and Configure presentation. We'll show you how you can configure your system, changing things like the number of undos and the autosave duration, how you can customize your button bars, and then we'll get you familiar with the project manager pages. So we'll start AlphaCam from the shortcut on my desktop. Then under File, we'll come down to Configure and start with General. So we'll run through these tabs. Under Settings, the number of undos is 10. The autosave, it creates an autosave file for you, maybe every 2 minutes as you're learning the system could be better. Don't need to change anything in geometry, nor the line widths. Under Machining, in all the presentations within AlphaCam, we assume the material top is 0. So I'm going to rapid safe level of 20, then rapid down to within 10mm of the top, and any cuts that we do will be then negative into the material. We'll set these to be the same, and these fields will then be automatically loaded into any toolpaths that you create. If I was using a 20mm diameter tool for pocketing, it would be doing the step over at 10mm, as I've got that at 50% of the diameter. The dynamic view allows you to change your mouse speed and also reverse the mouse wheel zoom direction if you wish. We don't need to change anything within simulation or view animation, and the same really applies to the colours. We'll leave them as the default and the tool colours as the default, and the window layout we also don't need to change. Under Configure and Folders, this is the default place where your files will be saved. Things like your post processors will be under Lycom Dat, and any files, the drawing files or NC files, will be saved under C AlphaCam Lycom dir. You can obviously change that if you wish. In the following presentations you'll see that I've reduced the size of some of these button bars, for instance the edit one, and also switched quite a few of them off if they're not required. You can drive AlphaCam from the drop down menu, File, Edit, View, Geometry, Utils, CAD, Machine. Alternatively, you can use the icons on the button bars. So maybe we'll start by creating a rectangle. We could do that by just saying let's create a rectangle from either the drop down menu or the icon. You'll see that once I've got some geometry on the screen, then all these editing commands then become active, and I'm going to reduce the size of this. So click on the little arrow at the top of the button bar, come down and edit, and I'm going to then remove a lot of these just to simplify it, and then I can drag and drop that and park that back. This is the fabrication button bar, so on here I may wish to switch that one off, and maybe also switch the styles. Machining, you can drag and drop them around. I tend to put this one, the views, at the bottom. Maybe my view button bar there. And you can then see it's quite easy to configure your own layout. And I put a little separation between them, usually within the movies, just so you can then identify the different button bars. So that's the edit one. This is geometry creation. Maybe move that down, and this is the file. Right clicking up here, I can then switch on and off the different button bars as we wish. We'll put the special geometries one on in there, so we'll move that one over and drop that one in the middle. Now also in there is the option to customize, and a few other commands in here. For instance, the option to show large icons or small icons. You can also switch on the option to show shortcuts in the key in screen tips. So now if we hover over offset, it'll tell me that that is the offset button bar, which is useful for us when you're initially learning the system. To the left of the screen there is the project manager page, and these can be switched on under view. I'm going to start by loading a file to explain this called example door. And we look under layers. We can switch things on and off. So for instance, I can switch off the dimensions. I'm pressing Ctrl A here, which is an auto zoom. I'll select isometric view, so we have an isometric view. Under the operations page, there are no operations on here because there's no toolpaths, and likewise there's nothing to simulate, so we'll apply some. There is a movie which goes into machining styles in depth. Please view that. I've got one here called Express Door, so I'm just going to apply those toolpaths to that. We then see under operations, these are the toolpaths that have been applied, and if we go into simulation, we can watch that toolpath cut our part. This concludes the Startup and Configure presentation of AlphaCam Express. We showed you how you can configure your system, with how you can then customize your button bars, and then showed you how to set up the project manager pages of operations, layers, machining styles and simulation. Thank you for your time.